Most Webflow development projects take way longer than they should, end up going over budget, and in even the worst case scenarios will completely stall out because there isn't a well-organized development process. In this video, I'm going to show you the process I follow when building high-performing marketing websites in Webflow, and I'm going to outline all the key things you need in place to ensure a smooth and stress-free project process for everyone involved. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Bailey Canning. I'm an independent full-stack marketing strategist based in Denver, Colorado, primarily working with my clients on branding, web design and development projects, and ongoing marketing retainers. Before we get into the development process, here are the two prerequisites I recommend you have in place to ensure that the Webflow development process is going to be smooth, fast, and efficient. Number one, you're going to need to have finalized wireframe mockups of the proposed new website design. The next thing I would recommend is that you want to have the content and copy fully locked in before moving on to the development process. So when I talk about content, that's primarily going to be the copy of the website, which is probably the most underrated, overlooked part of the ultimate marketing effectiveness that your website is going to deliver on. What I recommend is, number one, all the copy needs to be completed. That way it can just be copy and pasted in. I'd argue if you just do these two things alone, you're going to be ahead of 80 to 90% of the competition. Now, once development starts, whoever you hire to build out this Webflow website, I highly recommend they are using some sort of development framework for a variety of reasons. Number one, these development frameworks, the one I use is called Rayloom, along with the Client First Style Guide as made by FinSuite. This is probably the leading Webflow framework as of this moment. And this is great because, number one, it's going to be able to make building out all the sections of the website very easy because there's a ton of components, basically pre-built, commonly used website layouts that you can copy and paste directly into the website. You can also design the website in the design process with the same design style kit via the Rayloom Figma library. So that way, everything is very easy to copy and paste over. So you can take your designs and seamlessly move them into Webflow. Then from there, what I will do is that it's very easy to set all the global styles. So these are things like the buttons, the spacing, the fonts, the color schemes. You get the idea. It's all easy to globally control this along with the Webflow variable system. This way you can easily move into development, copy and paste all the layouts for every page. You can then set the styles globally. This also gives you the flexibility down the line if you ever want to change things. It's not going to be some huge manual undertaking. Rather, by just a couple quick updates to the style guide, you could completely change the look and feel of the website globally if you wanted to. And then this is just also important because say I'm working with a client and they're going to be managing and maintaining the website afterwards. They essentially have an extensive documentation they can rely on. So that is why it is so important to be using a development framework. It results in much faster, more efficient, more consistent builds, and it gives your website the long-term framework it needs to scale with your business and be able to be flexible with your company's ever-changing marketing and brand strategy. I am a big believer in transparency because I don't think the client should be in the dark during the development process. So what I do as soon as I build out the Webflow project, so I set all the settings up in the Webflow dashboard, the main global project settings. Then what I like to do is generally build out the homepage since we already have the homepage UI mockup. And this way they get a very good sense of what the design for the rest of the site is going to look like. And then I will publish that on the Webflow staging domain, and then I will send that to the client. This is great because while I do check in regularly during the development process, it is important that the client have this staging link. This way they can bookmark it in their browser and they're able to just pull it up and check in on the progress anytime they'd like, and they can see in real time their website being built. I also think it's very important in terms of having a smooth process to ensure that clients can easily leave feedback. I will either use Markup.io, which basically allows for Figma-like common functionality directly on the website. This way the client can just point and click on anything they have feedback on, and then I can easily see what they're referencing. Unfortunately, they did just introduce a very expensive plan. There's no free plan as of this moment again. So I am looking to transition clients over to the native Webflow comment system. It's not as fully featured and the client does need designer access, so it's only for more technical clients, but either way, I do ensure no matter what process we're using, there is a way for clients to leave feedback during the development process. And this way, we don't even need to necessarily get on calls to discuss. Rather, we can just all handle the feedback ad hoc. Other than the Rayloom library kit I mentioned, probably the biggest time saver in this entire process is going to be having a standardized checklist for the quality assurance testing and launch phase. This way, once the design is completed, the client has approved the website, and we are ready to launch. I'll give you some quick tips at the end of this video as well on how I recommend you approach the launch process. But having a standardized checklist for the entire quality assurance and review phase that I run every single Webflow build through has been dramatically impactful for speeding up how fast I'm able to deliver and launch these client websites. This is key because you really don't want to run the risk of launching the website, everyone at the company on the client side being super thrilled that the project and the months of hard work is finally complete, only to find some sort of like technical error that dramatically harms the client's brand reputation online. So that's why it's super important to have this development checklist. If you're getting value out of this video and you are considering a Webflow build, whether you are the business owner / CEO of a company or a marketing director, whatever the situation is, I would love to learn about your project and help you map out a game plan for achieving your brand, marketing, and website results. So if you want to hop on a one-to-one strategy call with yours truly, there is a video form in the link in the description of this video. It takes about 5 minutes to fill out. It's only a couple questions, but it gives me all the essential information I need to determine if it is worth both of our times to set up a call and discuss your project. So link in the video description. It's a one-to-one free complimentary strategy call. I'll take the time to learn more about your brand, your marketing and sales goals, what the competitive landscape looks like, what your industry looks like, and based on everything you tell me, I will help you outline a branding, web design and development roadmap, and ongoing marketing retainer so you can ultimately grow your brand awareness online, increase revenue, and generate more leads. So if that sounds good to you, video link in the description of this video. And without further ado, let's get back into it. Now, a couple random pro tips I can give you after doing this for several years now. Number one, you never want to launch the website on a Friday, especially a Friday afternoon, because in my experience, when you do this, if things don't go right, you're gonna run the risk of the project stretching into the weekend, Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, maybe even Sunday. Trust me, I've been there, I've done that, it wasn't fun. And this is just not good because number one, the developer you're working with or the agency you hired needs to work on the weekends, which is not going to make them happy. But most importantly, it also requires then the client to be available over the weekends, and then people might have vacations and going out of town, things of this nature. So because of that, I just have a very blanket rule over the years that we are not going to be launching the website on a Friday. Even Thursday, I think, can be kind of pushing it. Ideally, you get it done on a Monday or a Tuesday. That way you have the entire week to not just launch the website, make sure everything is handled properly, but then also you can get the project officially offboarded that week. And then the following week, you can really hit the ground full steam ahead with marketing and driving traffic and ultimately generating leads from the website. You also want to make sure that you have all the DNS logins and access that the developer is going to need ahead of time. Nothing worse in my experience than the website's done, you're ready to go launch it, but then no one knows the login to the hosting provider, the domain still needs to be transferred, and then this can just be such a killer at the end of the project. So always want to make sure you have those DNS access and the domain access handled before you even start the development process. I handle this as part of the project onboarding, so we don't even need to worry about it well after the project's gotten underway. You also want to test all forms to ensure that the client is able to receive them on their end. Nothing worse than you launch the website, a few weeks have gone by, the developer might have seen the leads via the form submissions come in, but then the client had no idea this was happening, so obviously can't have that happen. And you also want to ensure all the different tracking codes and scripts you might have. So for example, Google Analytics, you want to make sure that is active as soon as the website goes to launch, because again, you don't want to miss out on any of that very valuable traffic data. Lastly, I recommend here that the developer should keep a backup of the project, or even they can send this back up to the client so they have a backup version in Webflow of the original website. This is key. I literally just had a client this week ask me if they could roll back the homepage of their existing website because we had made significant changes post-launch in the year or so working together on a marketing campaign. And when I checked the current live production website, the old homepage had never been saved out. Fortunately, I did have a copy on my end, so I was able to just copy and paste this over. So very simple, it took like 2 minutes, but if it had not been for that, then I would have had to bill the client to rebuild the original homepage, and it would have just been a disaster for everybody. So very important, keep a backup of the original build in your Webflow dashboard. Hopefully the developer or agency you're working with does so also. Lastly, what I'll always do to wrap up a project is we will have an offboarding phase. So this will be where I will request a testimonial. I will request their feedback on the project, both positive and negative. I will set up an offboarding meeting to answer any questions they have. But the most important thing I do here is going to be to take the time to sit down and put together in-depth, detailed screen recording tutorials so that this way the client has a video user manual of the entire website, how to make basic content updates, how to edit items in the CMS. This way, even if they're going to be the ones managing and maintaining the website, and generally I end up doing this anyway as part of my website management and or marketing retainers, this way they always have a video user manual to be able to make any content updates they need on the website and to really be able to use it as a marketing tool in their business. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so that is the video for today. I just wanted to go a bit deeper into the Webflow development process and talk about the key things you need in place. This time, I really wanted to focus in on the specific development phase of the project because I have just seen so many projects over the years running my own consultancy and especially during my agency days where projects would stretch on months longer than they needed to. Both the employees on the agency side and the client side were unnecessarily stressed out. There was even some bad blood at times. So I just think that by taking the time to have everything put in place as I outlined today in this video, it's nothing crazy, but believe me, it could save you months of time and frustration, thousands of dollars, and ultimately it could help you generate the leads and the revenue that you're counting on this website to deliver for your company much faster if you make sure that if you're a company or an agency or a freelancer, this is how you're going to go about implementing in your Webflow development process. And if you are a company, whether you're a business owner or a marketing director, and you're actively vetting Webflow freelancers and agencies, you want to ask them, what does the development process look like? And if they're not talking about any of the stuff I mentioned in this video, then quite honestly, you probably need to find someone else to interview for the project. So that's the video. Hit the like button, subscribe, helps other people like you find this video in the YouTube algorithm. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching. Appreciate it. Talk to you later. Bye.